Jack Rankin.
Thank you, Sir Edward. It's an honour to take part in this debate under your chairmanship, and I would like to thank my honourable friend, the member for West Suffolk, for securing this important debate. I am very fortunate, Sir Edward, in that in my patch I have two world-renowned racecourses, Royal Windsor Racecourse and Ascot Racecourse. There is very rarely a better place to be on a Monday night, I would suggest to you, than Royal Windsor, and you're all very welcome. And Ascot, obviously, is famous the world over, particularly for its annual 5-day Royal Ascot event, an event which booked the national trend this year by seeing an increase rather than decline in attendance, which is a credit to all involved. For those who heard my maiden speech earlier this week, and I think maybe the member for member for Aintree, because I can't remember your constituency's name, the member for Aintree clearly did. The course was founded in 1711, and that course now has 330 years of history and has hosted some of the world's greatest races. And not only has Royal Ascot welcomed some of the greatest racehorses from countries all over the world, including the US, Hong Kong, and probably most significantly, the Australian supermare, Black Caviar, which is often considered one of the greatest racehorses of all time, which only left Australia once, and that was to compete in Britain at Royal Ascot's Diamond Jubilee Stakes in 2012. But Ascot is also, but it's not only equine royalty that Royal Ascot attracts. The point has been made, I think, about Britain's soft power by a few speakers. We get prominent royal figures from Dubai, from Bahrain, from Saudi Arabia, from pretty much ambassadors from the Commonwealth and indeed the world over, which makes horse racing an important tool for soft power for this country. The event showcases the best of Britain, the best of my Windsor constituency on the world stage, and is broadcast in over 180 territories internationally. As well as the prestige that comes with competing in Ascot's Group 1 races, it's obviously a significant financial contributor in increasing the stud horse's value, which remains unrivalled in international racing. And as a result, and some honourable members have already made this point, racing industry generates over £4 billion per year and employs more than 85,000 people. Royal Ascot alone welcomes 270,000 spectators across 5 days, and at peak time employs over 4,500 staff. The visits to my racecourse there make up 10% of national racing attendance, and that economic importance to my constituency and the surrounding areas cannot really be understated. In fact, Deloitte in 2014 assessed the economic impact of Ascot Racecourse just for that event in question at £68 million, just in off-course expenditure through food, through accommodation, through fashion, all of which drives money into our local economy and indeed into to London, our capital, which hosts many punters during these events. For years, the Horserace Betting Levy has helped to fund grassroots sports of horse racing. It's not just by Ascot, perhaps, at the top of the tree. This all filters down into the grassroots sports, and it increases animal welfare and raises the profile of the sport. And at its best, that reciprocal relationship, symbiotic relationship, improves the sport and, in turn, the taking of betting companies. However, and I think this is a big risk that we should be highlighting to the Minister today, an increase in financial checks on customers risks pushing a lot of this gambling underground, and that means that less money will be reinvested in the sport and ultimately less money for the Treasury. So, of course, we should be doing what we can to ensure that a flutter on the races remains an innocent recreational sport, but we need to give support to the people who need it. But I would urge the government to tread carefully and acknowledge the unintended consequences of further regulation, particularly with problem gambling statistics at low levels in racing compared even to some national lottery products. Any further introduction should be frictionless and should involve working closely with relevant stakeholders, whether that be the BCG or the BHA. Countries that have seen heavy regulations tend to see an increase in blackmarking betting, as you understand, and I know that PwC found that in Norway, increased state regulation of gambling led to 66% of all gambling taking place on the black market, and similar conditions have created huge black markets in Portugal, Bulgaria and Sweden.
Yes, certainly.
I'm very grateful to my own friend Giveaway. He's making a powerful and important point. Would you agree with me that if we don't support prize money in UK racing and support the industry, not only will we drive the betting revenues away, but we'll also see more and more money going into other racing. Last year's Hennessy, a big race in the autumn I watched, there were 4 runners, and on television, all the racing that was being shown was from Ireland, where the horses had 20 entries. If we're not careful, we're going to end up killing the goose that lays the golden egg. Does he agree?
I think my honourable friend is quite right to say that. I'm a big cricket fan, and we've seen effectively what big money overseas can do to the heart of a sport that originated in this country and gives us a lot of power, and I think we've got to be very careful about what we do. And we should also obviously acknowledge that the black market, you know, if people are pushed to the black market, there'll be even fewer barriers to entry. And actually it might have a bad effect in terms of probable gambling overall. So, Sir Edward, we are at an important crossroads for British horse racing, and as bookies taking, which fund the levy, continue to decline, I think it is important that the government's approach to gambling respects individual liberty and drives growth rather than limits it. And just to expand on that. Yes, certainly, sir. So I hope the Chancellor will consider carefully introducing further punitive taxes on the gambling sector in next week's budgets, as that would further squeeze the horse racing industry. And seeing that the Labour Party has made growth its priority, I hope this government will be forthright in its support of the British horse racing, an industry that plays a vital role in my local economy, but also this country's unrivalled soft power.